right, Coach, go ahead on this week's game at Colorado.
First thing is to thank all of our fans that were at the game on Saturday. Made that a great atmosphere. So we appreciate that. It was a really good football game for a big chunk of it. And we made a few too many mistakes that we needed to not be able to make in certain situations to give ourselves a chance to win. So turn a page forward. We got to play a lot better this week. Go on the road. What will be a difficult environment on a Saturday night, and against a talented team that will play hard, and they've got a lot of really good players and do a lot of good things. So big challenge, and we got to get ready for it.
Jay, I asked you Saturday night, and you said you need to look at the film. Curious what that film told you about the offense, and if you had any concern with those guys and Cade Anderson in particular.
Well, a concern over Cade Anderson in particular, no. Was it his best Saturday night? No. I think he would tell you that too, that he can play better, needs to play better. There's a few times that, a couple things, ball placement or some things that I think that he would rather have back, and do that. I think what happened, in a lot of situations, first of all, a lot of credit to Utah in the fact that they challenge you at all three levels throughout the game. And so, this doesn't, they don't just have a good front, they play soft zones or something, or they, aren't good. They're good across the board. And so, there's a number of plays out there that we have we had some good performances Saturday night offensively, and that was the hard thing, because then it would be mixed in with a spotty, intermittent, poor performance by a particular player or a particular situation. The sack fumble, we just hit a 32-yard play to Sam Harris, and we're on their side of the field, and we have a really good play call going to run a dig with Jalen Sargent. They're in a 3-deep zone. Jalen Sargent's wide open. Cade Anderson's about ready to put the ball on him. This is going to be a 15-plus yard play. Get hit from behind, sack fumble. You know what I mean? You see, you got to win that. We got to win that spot, and that's that's that fine line to it. So all of a sudden now you could be first down at the 32 or deeper with under 4 minutes to go and a half. And so you look at all those little things that way. I think that whether it's finishing a route the right way, ball placement, protection at a certain point in time. Just all the little things, making a cut where the hole is instead of kind of guessing where that'll be, and that type of, just a lot of individual things, and that was the thing to it. It wasn't just this one position group just crapped the bed and didn't get anything done. It was there's kind of a share to it, but it was also intermittent. We had a lot of run plays, the offensive line doing a really good job on and got movement, and then we would get a few yards, and then we didn't make enough guys miss at times. Teron did, Sam Harris did, and some things that way. So just a combination of things. We have to get better. We have to get a lot better. We're aware of that, and that's the challenge this week, and to do that on the road. So,
how are you kind of preparing for what you might see out of their quarterback situation?
Well, I think obviously what they've done with Ryan Staub. He's kind of look at him and watch him on video. I think he's kind of a cool presence and gets the ball out and gets the ball to people accurately and do that. I think with Caden Salter, there's an added element of athleticism to it. We got to prepare for all of it. I don't know that they alter their offense dramatically between each one. Obviously it could be a little bit different focus, but we got to get ready for multiple different things. So.
Coach, how good can these big non-conference games be for your young team?
Yeah, well, okay, so just like what we're going to have to do today when we come in a team meeting today, is that we've got to, go and own up to the things where we fell short. In the second half defensively, our communication wasn't near as good. And in particular the fourth quarter. You know, it's a 10-0 game with 1:50 to go in the third quarter, and they got 3rd and 21, right? And we have a breakdown, okay? And then there was other times in that, you know, second half where, from a communication, from a kind of urgency of play, that we weren't what we needed to be. So the big thing that we've got to do, and even from an offensive standpoint about, like, you know, where we are on certain routes and what we've got to do in terms of, you know, how we're finishing plays. The lessons from Saturday night are very, very important for us going forward this week, and then, you know, when we start conference play, you know, like, that's the emphasis that they made to the staff. Even it's like, hey, you know, we don't want to see these same things this coming Saturday in certain situations, and then we've got to make sure that the lessons from this past game and the one that we're about to play, you know, that when we go flip the page and start conference play, that it gives us a great identifier of, okay, in critical situations, this is what we are best at. This critical situations, these are the people who are best at doing it. You know, and that was one thing that you'll learn a little bit of as a coach Saturday night too, is, you know, when it becomes fastballs coming back at you, you know, some guys swing a little bit better than others, you know, and so that's something that you kind of learn too. And so, you know, we've got to get better, and there's a lot of areas to it. These games will help us improve if we take the lesson that we just had this past Saturday night and improve from it, about how critical communication is, how critical that your own individual job is, and those types of things.
Jay, a couple for you. Do you have status on John Michael Gillenborg? And we didn't see Dion DeBlanc in the return game, and I'm hearing that he might be accepting or taking a redshirt here this year.
Well, so for John Mike, first of all, I mean, we'll kind of see where he's at today, tomorrow. I anticipate him playing. You know, I don't, you know, it's a thigh bruise type of thing. You know, that can be painful. It can be difficult to kind of work through, and we'll kind of see, kind of be able to feel midweek where he's at. I don't think he'll practice today, from what my understanding is. As for Dion, you know, look, you know, I communicate and talk with our players on those things. He and I had a conversation. That's not to say that he will redshirt, but for where we were at in the plays that we were using him, we get 4 games. You know, we got to look at it and just say, okay, you know, did we want to use them all 1 through 4? And then once you go to number 5, like he's used a year. And I've been in situations before as a coach, and it used to be if you played a play, that was a season. You know, all the way back to where I was at Southern Illinois and when I was at Minnesota, in a couple different instances, where a guy would finish his career playing really well, and he was out of eligibility, and you look back on it, and he played 58 plays as a true freshman on kickoff, return, or something, and that was it. And you're sitting there going, did we really help ourselves and that player? And so there's kind of I wouldn't say that that's the end of Dion DeBlanc as far as this year. Obviously, we still have 2 more games that we can utilize him in, but he may not redshirt at all either. A lot of it's just based on his growth, and then also a tangible role. You know, I mean, it's hard for me to look at a guy and go, hey, we're playing you 5 plays a game, 8 plays a game, and you lose your year of eligibility. So there's you know, and look, I would anticipate a couple of our freshmen doing some things this week and playing, and being in certain roles. And like I said, we've got 4 games to kind of toy with that, and we'll go.
So would this be your decision, or was this Dion coming to you?
Well, it's a little bit shared.
Yeah.
It's a little bit shared. I mean, he came to me about kind of his role and everything, and about the concern. I think he just thought he'd play games 1 through 4. I made the decision just to say, no, we're not playing you this week, because I want to kind of, you know, I mean, look, we play 1 through 4, and the next thing you know, game 8, that we've got a couple receivers that have injuries, and now you need him, and now you're like, okay, we're either spending this year or we're not. So I wanted to be judicious with what we're at. Right now, Eric Richardson's healthy. Right now, you know, Jackson Holman will be healthy this week. He missed last week. You know, Michael Fitzgerald's healthy. You know, Clay Nanke's healthy. There's a lot of guys healthy, and so